I'm Brian, and we're doing our typical thing, Pixel Pushers podcast.
Pixel Pushers podcast.
Without pickles.
Without pickles or mustard.
And who do we have today?
Today we have Amy Harber from Chicago, Illinois.
And what's her story?
She is a model actress in the big city, and she's very affected by the pandemic. Had to send her toilet paper a little while ago. Shortage went all over the country.
Yep, and we have special access.
Yeah. We're not that important.
So you want to have a look?
Yeah, sure. Let's look and see.
So hi, I'm Amy Harber. It's AMY HARBER, not like the boat harbor.
Yeah.
I'm in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm a model and actress and, kind of whatever pays the bills.
And I watched your
the Doritos commercials.
demo reel.
Those.
Talk about some of the brands you've been involved with. That's kind of like an interesting thing.
So my biggest commercial was for Boost Mobile. I did a hosting thing that was on American Airlines, which I've actually watched like 2 months ago, or 3 months ago. 1,000 Ways to Die. I did a Doritos commercial. I did a lot of local commercials in Los Angeles. I did a Bird's Eye commercial that never aired. The Doritos one never aired either because it was back when they used to have those contests. And only the winner got to air during the Super Bowl.
Oh, so that could have been.
But still, that was a big. That's still a big deal, though.
Yeah,
that's still a big deal.
And I was going to let you take the lead on this a lot.
Okay.
So my biggest question is, you're in Chicago.
I am.
How long have you been on lockdown?
I have personally been on lockdown since March 15th. That was the day that I went and voted early, and that was a Sunday, and we were all spaced out 3 feet apart. And then while I was and the line was massive, and while I was in line, I got the message like, hey, we're all, I started like getting, panicky. And then we got the message, hey, all the restaurants are closing tomorrow. Like, done. And that's what I do on the weekends. I work at a restaurant. I handle mostly parties with tour groups, big events, and standing there right in line, I started having a panic attack. By the time I get done voting, I can barely breathe. I go straight to urgent care. I was like, I'm not going to the emergency room. Absolutely not. That's the last place I want to be. I'll go to urgent care. I literally was on the floor of the urgent care crying my eyeballs out because I was so scared and so freaked out. And there was one point where I didn't leave my house for a week. Like, didn't even leave my apartment to even go downstairs and get my mail.
Oh, goodness. I remember you saying something about that on Facebook. So you have a lot of anxiety over it personally. Is that, how about the people around you? I see that you're posting a lot about how people are not taking this seriously. Can you tell us a little bit about how others are reacting there?
So I did go out a couple times because I had to pick up prescriptions. And this was when I was still having really bad anxiety about the whole situation. It would be, there was like a kid riding his skateboard in the Walgreens and his dad's just letting him do it. And people, I was basically playing human keep away from people while waiting for my prescription.
It's interesting what I'm seeing about a lot of states is people are starting to protest now, like protest the quarantine and the lockdown. Are you seeing a lot of that there?
Today was the first day that they made mention of it, with people driving around the Thompson Center, which is downtown in what we call the Loop. It's where they do a lot of the press conferences. I guess people were driving around the block today, but not that many. We also, it's a lot of people riding public transportation in Chicago. So, you can't really have a car protest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We
we have
have
that working for us.
We've seen like I think in Ohio we're having people showing up at the state house in Columbus every day. The governor's giving his speech every day about what's going on, and people are protesting. Open up the government, open up the state again. Showing up with their guns and whatnot. Like, what are they going to do? Shoot the virus? Like, I mean, are you seeing that kind of stuff in Chicago? Like, you're in a different kind of.
I'm not, but then again, I live about 30 minutes north of everything that's like downtown, and I haven't even been on the train since March 15th.
So you're not driving your own car?
No, I don't even own a car here.
Okay, right. I kind of figured since you don't have to.
Who wants to drive through Chicago?
No, my
Jesus.
God. Don't get me started. And then the parking.
You kind of thought you might have had it.
That's what I was going to, because you did some traveling very recently.
Yeah. So
Tell us about that.
I went to Australia. So I went to Melbourne, Sydney, and then I popped over to New Zealand to go to Auckland, and then I went to Los Angeles. And I left January 27th, and that was right after the U.S., I think, had it was 5 days after the U.S. had their first cases.
Case one, yes.
Yeah. And you were seeing a few people wearing masks at the airport, but nothing, it was like, oh, no big deal. It's okay. It's just the flu, it's flu-like symptoms,
Yeah.
no big deal. Okay. I'm going to Australia anyway. Okay. I went to Australia. I went to a major tennis tournament. So I was in Melbourne. Then I went to Sydney, where I went to Bondi Beach, which ended up being a hot spot in Australia.
Uh-oh.
But that was 2-3 weeks after I got back. That was when they were shutting down the beach because everybody's partying on the beach there. Then when I was in Auckland, I went to the Pride Festival, which is one of the bigger Pride festivals in the Pan-Pacific region. Then I went to Los Angeles, where I went to another huge gathering. So about a week or two after I got back, I had the worst headache in the world. It was for 7 days. And it just kept getting more in my head. And I was like, okay, this is a sinus infection. Okay. But it was it was like dizzy spells and stuff. I was like, I've never had that. I go to urgent care. They're like, oh, it's sinus infection. You're fine. I was like, well, I've been traveling. Should I? No, you're fine. You don't have a fever. That's one of the symptoms. Are you coughing? I was like, well, once or twice. They're like, no, you don't need a test. It's not coronavirus. Sent me on my way with some antibiotics. I go to Comic-Con, another massive event. 3 days.
Lots of people, close quarters too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 days. The Friday night, the first night, I go out to dinner. I start feeling really the room is spinning. I'm like, oh shit, something doesn't feel right. Something just doesn't feel. I was like, okay, maybe you're just dehydrated. You didn't drink enough water. Drink some electrolyte powder. You're good. I go Saturday. Again, I start feeling hey, something's not right. And I'm coughing a little more. And I'm like, okay, no, it's just, you're being paranoid. I start getting really like tight in my chest during one of the panels. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the ER. My friend who's a nurse in Phoenix, or works as a nurse in Phoenix, he's like, no. He goes, if anything, you're having a reaction to the antibiotics. Just keep an eye on it.
But where was this Comic-Con at? Like
Chicago.
Chicago Comic-Con. Okay.
It was Chicago. It was C2E2. So flash forward to Monday night, going into Tuesday. I wake up. I'd gone to bed early because I had to be in the suburbs at like 8 a.m. to shoot a commercial. I wake up at like 2:30 a.m. My heart is racing. I feel like I'm being strangled. I can't breathe. I go on a coughing spell so bad, I almost pass out. I was like, okay, I cannot go to, I called like the telenurse. They're like, well, you should go. It sounds like you're having an antibiotic reaction. You should go to the ER. I was like, okay, that's not happening because I got to be on set. Okay, this is a sinus infection. I'm fine. I'll just stop taking the antibiotic. I go, I shoot my commercial. I'm still feeling like racing heart, tight chest. I go back to urgent care. Oh, I've now have a rash at this point for me.
Give me the timeline. Again, what was the dates on this? Like, so in January or?
I got back from Australia. I'm actually looking at it now. I got back from Australia. I got back to the States on February 9th, but I didn't get back to Chicago until the 13th. And then I started feeling like crap on the 20th. I was in urgent care on the 26th. March 3rd, I'm back in urgent care saying, hey, here's everything that's happened. At this point, I think Chicago maybe had 5 cases, maybe 12. And I was like, hey, I did trap. They're like, no.
Oh, it's impossible to get a test.
You're just having a reaction to the antibiotic. You still don't have a fever. All of your stuff is fine. Your oxygen is like a little low. It's like 96 when it should be like 97, 98, 99. You're fine though. You're having a reaction to the antibiotics. And I had really bad stomach problems. Like it was like my stomach was just cramping, and since we're having the conversation here, I was just sitting on the toilet, like literally. I was like, and it felt like all my insides were rotting. I was like, oh my God, did I drink too much in Australia? Do I have you start getting paranoid. I was like, oh my God, do I have like a liver tumor or something? But it felt like all my organs on this side of my body, on my left side, were rotting inside of me.
Ooh.
And it just hurt in my ribs constantly. So then, flash forward here, you start hearing all these stories of people going, well, I never, like Pink, the singer Pink. I just saw a video today where she was talking to Ellen and she said, I never had a fever.
Yeah.
So
symptoms have been all over the board too.
Yeah, you start hearing people going, oh, I got told it was a sinus infection. And I started putting the pieces together and I was like, did I maybe? Because I've taken amoxicillin a gazillion times in my life and I've never had a reaction. And all of a sudden at 46 years old, I developed an allergy to penicillin. That was early on when I was still having all the anxiety problems.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, so I was on 3 Ativan a day.
Yeah, which is enough to really knock you on your butt.
Yeah, like I was only on the 3 for like a week because I was like, I'm not coming out of this being dependent on freaking benzos.
Yeah, that's a dangerous thing to be addicted to. But did that help?
Yeah, it did. Well, I think what helped me more was hearing people go, "Oh, I didn't I didn't have a fever, and so I kept saying, well, maybe I've already had this.
So it made you feel like you credible. It made you feel like you weren't just hallucinating.
Yeah, and I was having and that's another thing, hallucinations. People were saying about how they were having weird dreams and shit. I know 2 people that have tested positive. They're fine now. They were like, yeah, I had the weird. I was like, oh my God, I was having these whack ass surreal dreams.
I've heard a lot of people say the same thing too on the dreams.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. But that helped my anxiety more, was in my head going, well, maybe I've already had this. And if so, maybe, if someone does breathe on me, I won't catch it again.
But so how are you now? How's your anxiety now? Are you still real scared to go out?
No, I think I'm more annoyed when I go out.
I was gonna ask, how is it when you go out? Like, what's it like in Chicago when you leave your house? Are you seeing everybody in masks? How's the grocery store?
I don't go to the grocery store. I haven't been to any store. I just get stuff delivered. But my grocery delivery, my guy had gloves. He had a mask. He put everything down and then walked away. And then after I checked it, I gave him a thumbs up. And then, there's people in my neighborhood with masks, but there's also idiots walking 10 in a group at the park, blocking the path. So,
do you feel like overall? Do you feel like people are generally kind of cautious, scared of this?
Yeah,
or do you feel like people don't care?
For the most part, they're most part in my area, probably taking it seriously, but then we've got these pockets of knuckleheads that, I'm in modeling and actor groups on Facebook, and there's still people going, hey, let's get together and have a photo shoot. It'll be socially distanced. So I'm like, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. You don't, this one girl, and I will call her at best an Instagram model. Instagram lingerie model. She's like, hey, I got a room at the Hyatt in the Loop. I'm taking photographers. Message me for my rates and available times.
It sounds enticing for a photographer. Absolutely not, but
I got her tossed out of her.
Yeah.
When you're like me and you know enough people in the service industry, in Chicago, all you have to do is drop hey, so there's this girl doing this thing, and they were like literally, it took me 30 minutes to be like, oh, I know someone that works at a hotel. We'll shut that shit down in a heartbeat.
Right.
Yeah. What was funny is we one of our earlier conversations with Katie. She lives in Inglewood, Florida. So it's a retirement community. So all these people are the at-risk people, right?
Yeah.
And these old people just don't care, They just don't care. They want to have their margaritas. They want to, the beaches are opened and they close a beach because too many people were there for COVID. So they moved to the next town with a beach. It just didn't seem like all these at-risk, this area where there's all these at-risk people, gave a shit. And
our mayor here isn't fucking around. Oh, she's literally, if you do Chicago mayor memes, you will find Lori Lightfoot. She shut down there's an urban trail that runs east to west. It's called the 606. She shut that shit down on the first nice day because people weren't playing by the rules. She shut the lakefront down. And here's the thing, a lot of people use the lakefront to doctors and people that work downtown at Northwestern or the Children's Hospital, they will use the lakefront to bike to work. Now you've got, because people were knuckleheads, now these essential workers got to find another way to work because they can't be on the lakefront trail.
Right.
But yeah, I can't even, I live 2 blocks from the lake. I can't even go to the...
How has reality changed for you with what you do, where you're at? Let's hear a little bit about that.
So even before we were all on lockdown and quarantine, I was already seeing the impact for the model side of things, I was supposed to audition for some booth work at the Houseware show convention that got canceled. I was then supposed to audition for Bridal Market, which is a huge showing of bridal and prom wear. Chicago Fashion Week, that actually, went to a fitting on the 14th, and they were still planning to have Fashion Week in April.
Wow.
First, it got postponed till June. Now it's completely canceled and not picked back up until the fall shows in October.
And we hope that, like, for us, we do a lot of event stuff.
Yeah.
And we're wondering, the postponements, is that really a postponement, or is it just not going to happen
Yeah,
this
I think
year,
a lot of stuff is just not going to happen this year.
I think at least, like in the case of the Chicago Fashion Week, they're just going to skip.
Right, because you have 2 a year, right?
Yeah, you have like fall, winter. Fall, winter is in the spring. Spring, summer is in the fall. So I think either they're going to have to combine and be like, this is all the stuff that was for fall, winter, right here in fall, winter, plus spring, summer of next year. Because what it is they show, like, this was going to be fall, winter. Because you have to show it that far in advance so that if you're mass producing, it's ready by fall, winter.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I saw that. I had auditions that I've gone to that, are now in a holding pattern. But I've also started to get a few auditions now where they've been like, hey, we're going to shoot it in your home. We're going to send you the camera. The director's going to direct you via Zoom.
They're going to send you a camera.
They're going to send you the camera that they want, any props they want. You're going to have a one-on-one, and the director could be okay.
If that camera doesn't get delivered, shoot it straight down to us.
Like, okay, well, we want this, but we don't want the cat bed. They'd be like directing you how they want the set based on what's in your apartment or what they've sent you.
Yeah, that's cool.
I did a refresher course for the model camp that I went to in New York in November. I did a Zoom refresher course with it was all of us alumni. So I've been, there have been some modeling and acting opportunities. Obviously, I can't have photo shoots. I can't update my portfolio, which, it's supposed to be pictures from the past 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I think now, I'm coming up on some photos that I need to be cycling out of my portfolio, and I can't cycle them out.
How about your, have you tried to get any kind of compensation, any kind of unemployment, anything like that? Because I know that we're going through hell getting that.
I am lucky in the fact that, one, I had, from acting and modeling jobs that I've done, I built up a 3 to 6 month emergency fund that was supposed to be like, hey, if you blow out a knee working out, I was always more in my head, more of, you're going to hurt yourself at the gym or something from all your sports injuries. And that's why you're going to need to.
Yeah, it's like an athlete. You're not going to last forever. So you got to, you're eventually going to, if you have as many broken bones as I have, you're not going to be able to keep doing what you want to do.
Mine's more soft tissue. I have a tendency to tear tendons and stuff. There's been some opportunities, and I'm lucky that I have my restaurant job and I have my emergency fund. We were already seeing the slowdown on the restaurant side before everything did get shut down. So I was supposed to work that last weekend, and I had actually given up my shifts to people who had kids because I saw what was coming. I was like, okay, you know what? You get your money. But I also had a whole year of travel planned, and now it's
same here.
Yeah, we had some travel. I got lucky. I started DoorDash in January, and just to catch up on some bills, and we want to save for video cameras. So I started doing that to supplement our video and photography work, and
Well, we did.
And got super lucky because that has like you can't even get on that platform now because everybody needs a job so much. So I got really lucky with that.
I was doing two kind of bucket listy things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to go to all 4 tennis Grand Slams in honor of my mom.
Mm-hmm. Aw.
Because she loved watching tennis so much, and I had just gone to the Australian, and I was in the process of getting my French Open tickets when all this went.
Oh.
And I was already in the queue for Wimbledon tickets.
Whoa.
So I was supposed to go to Australia, Paris, London, New York. So January, May, July, September.
Mm-hmm.
Then on top of it, after I started traveling around with the little Duran Duran figures, I realized, and after they started following me on Twitter, which I was like,
cool. Yeah.
When Simon Le Bon retweets you and you've loved him since 1984,
yeah.
I was like, okay, so the Funkos were going to go to Paris with me, but then they started announcing all their 40th anniversary shows. So I was supposed to go to Vegas. I had 16th row, May 1st and 2nd.
I remember you talking about that. Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to go to the 40th anniversary show in Hyde Park with Gwen Stefani and Chic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was also going to, when I was in Paris, was going to pop up to Sweden to go see them play at a festival.
Wow.
Yes.
So I was like trying to do 2 bucket lists I was like going to have a massive Duranie year at the same time honoring my mom. And then it was like, I am still waiting to see. I'm supposed to be modeling at a huge photography convention in August here in Chicago. And we're still on schedule for that, but
in August. Okay.
Yeah.
I bet you it's going to be canceled.
Yeah.
I just have this feeling.
I'm in fearful of the next wave of.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, don't you think? What do you think? Do you think, like, are we trying to open up things too early? Is there going to be a second, third wave? Because we're already seeing that in China right now. Like, They opened up, and we're seeing another wave, and the death toll is way higher.
My friend, I am lucky that I went to this model camp because now I have this whole network of all these models all around the world. So we're kind of like looking and seeing what they're doing. Like there's this one girl, she is in Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. They were one of the first places hit outside of China. I'm kind of using her as a barometer. Anytime I'm like, hey, what's happening over there? She's gone back to work doing photo shoots and stuff. But like she has to wear a mask everywhere. She said restaurants are open, but bars and clubs aren't. I haven't asked her about movie theaters.
Yeah.
And also from traveling, I also I made friends with a girl that I met in New Zealand. So I've also been using her as a barometer because they really locked down quickly. They only had like 2 cases when they locked everything down, wouldn't let anyone in, wouldn't let anyone out.
And they were very extreme too. They were very extreme with their.
They were very extreme with that. So I've kind of been using like my network that I've built around the world on like Instagram and WhatsApp. As kind of barometers. There are people here that, want to open up like May 1st or May 15th. I've already in my head being like, I got this fund. I could just text because it's going to be such a mad dash for people wanting to go back to work.
Gosh, yeah.
That I can tell my managers, let the people that have kids and stuff work first. Schedule me last.
Do you think, this is just a bizarre question. Do you think that, like we're talking, like a dog has to go with her. Do you think that, like with the modeling world, do you think we're going to see a new fashion of masks with like sexy outfits or that kind of thing? Because I kind of think we will.
I've already seen it happening.
Okay. You're in, this, so you're in that industry.
I've already seen it happening. I've seen a lot of fashion designers turn to making masks.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
The mask I actually have, The girl that did my mask is a designer in Los Angeles that I know from a fashion show in Ohio. But I also had a designer here in Chicago she was actually doing a custom piece for me. But like I said, the designers that I know, a lot of them transitioned to doing masks. So this girl in Chicago was making me a custom piece made out of a beach ball I stole from Duran Duran.
A beach ball. Okay.
I stole a giant beach ball that they toss out into the audience during the Rio Encore, and I kept the beach ball, and I've been holding on to it for about a year, and finally I met the right designer that was like, I can turn that into a skirt for you. And I was supposed to take it to Vegas and debut it in Vegas.
Yeah.
But when everything got shut down, I had originally given her a due date of April 29th, so that I could take it to Vegas. And I just told her, I said, when I saw everybody focusing on mask and seeing that I was like, don't worry about my skirt. As long as it's ready by my birthday in August, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. Focus on masks. But a lot of them are making masks. Even the major designers like Christian Soriano and Zach Posen are making masks. But I think we're going to see that incorporate into the fashion.
You think that sounds like
I think we're going to see a lot. I think we're going to see a lot of elastic waisted pants or baggy pants. I think we're going to see a lot of elastic waist, a lot of things that are loose in the waist and the hips. Mm-hmm. I think that's what we're going to see coming out of quarantine fashion.
Oh God, I'm not ready for the 80s again. I mean, I could be because I got the spandex. So
yeah,
it's not going to be tight. We're going to see a lot of loose stuff,
right? Because everybody got the
no. I have to be different. So
everybody's got the Corona puff.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of loose, elastic waist and
and have your face covered.
Like pajamas are going to be the new outside norm.
I'd like to keep it on, please. Only Drag Race fans will get that reference. I think acting wise, it's now showing a lot of these casting directors that they don't need to cast, or they can have auditions outside of whatever market they're in. Mm-hmm. Like,
because you can do Zoom. You can do Zoom. There's places doing Zoom auditions for projects, and they're auditioning actors from other markets because now they can see. Yeah, before you could I have put myself on tape for shows in Atlanta, shows in Los Angeles. But I think this is going to open it up even more so. And I think it's also going to open it up for like teachers and other like acting teachers and stuff in other markets to go online with their classes. I even said the 93-year-old woman that Coors Light sent the beer to, they should have had someone get her on Zoom and they should have recorded them taking the beer to her. Absolutely.
Because they could have just already had a new commercial for Coors Light right there.
All right, so we're hitting the hour mark.
Okay.
We're gonna have you for because we're a video production company. We want to talk to. We're gonna talk to a bunch of my filmmaker friends.
I'll send you a link. Oh my gosh, you guys have to come up here sometime when the Chicago film scene has when we actually start having mixers again. I was going to like this mixer every Wednesday. They do a podcast, I think the first Wednesday of every month. But yeah, these guys, they're actually the ones I did the movie in around Halloween where I ate the guy.
That, from everything I've heard, that sounds about right.
I ate my DoorDash guy.
Sorry. Oh God.
That sounds about right. I'm glad I ate the DoorDash. All right, hope you enjoyed it. For this week, we may be switching back to a more regular schedule soon. We're also in all places podcasts are found, except for iTunes, which will be soon, so Google Play, Podtrack, all the fun places. You can find us at WeDoVids.com
And SarahBennettPhotography.net.
and DaytonBusinessVideo.com. So yeah, check us out.